Oh man,
nobody. Yeah, even the what is it? The proctologist, that's the ass doctor. You know.
Yeah, even they're not okay with
even
it.
they're not comfortable with just real loud, gas. That's chemical warfare, man.
But yeah, so that was pretty much our day, and it wouldn't have been our complete day, but because so my wife had taken off Friday and Monday, so that we could do the holiday, prepare shit, and so that we could do the holiday, and so we kind of forgot that it's Friday. And we go, as you do, because you've got the day off. So evidently, the rest of the world has the day off. That is not true. And there was a shitload of people on the freeway. And so, yeah, probably, I don't know, good quarter of the day was spent traveling. But we did. We stopped at the at our old liquor store because we drove all the way out to Gresham, which is a long ways from where we live.
Okay.
And I mean, you guys don't know where it's at, but it's a long ways.
No.
We went out to the hood, and found like that liquor store is great because they got all sorts of weird shit. And so we found like this Czechoslovakian herbal liquor, and so we got some of that. Gabe, who I'm surprised is actually logging in because he's got the plague. But
yeah, he's telling us that he's Sling Blade talking.
Yeah, he is the trooper, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
So
Gabe.
I will pay as much attention to the chat log as I can because
yeah, I'm sure me and Will can also help and point out when he says stuff.
Please do. Yeah, but I mean, this herbal liquor might be good for Gabe. I mean, I saw it and I'm like, oh, my grandma used to get that shit, and that's really good. And so my wife's like, yeah, get it. And I'm like, all right. So we got some of that. We got some really expensive Irish whiskey for the party that we're having for Christmas Eve, and got some boozy eggnog, and I mean, we got this little this decanter. It's like it only holds like a pint. But it's electric, and it looks like Santa Claus, and he's got his fly undone, and he's taken a leak, and that's where the booze comes out when you press the button.
All right.
My wife's like, "Oh, we got to get this."
Is it Hruskovich that you got, the pear stuff?
No, it is.
Yeah,
man,
there's
a slaughter that word, but it's like Bolshevika, Czechoslovakian herbal liquor. So,
right.
Yeah.
That does sound good.
My family grows pears up in Northern California. There's a bunch of Czechs up there, and they make this liqueur out of it. That's Hruskovich, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, the stuff that my grandmother had was what was it? I want to say like a parsnip and turnip schnapps. Parsnips and turnip schnapps, and you would think that. You like parsnips and turnips? That sounds disgusting.
You need something starchy.
Yeah, but it's not. It's actually really good. And the thought that I had in my head when I first heard about it is like, that's gonna basically taste like rotten vodka or dirty vodka, but it doesn't. It's got like it's got a very medicinal quality to it. But there's like this hint with the herbs and stuff of like that on that back end of almost like Jägermeister. It's very good. A little less.
You know what Jägermeister means?
I know.
Master Hunter.
That's right.
Yeah,
right there.
I was gonna say
a hunter.
I know what it means to the group of people that I used to hang out with. It means we're gonna get some tonight, or there's gonna be a fight.
Right. It's Master Hunter or Master of the Hunt. Also, I guess is a technical.
Which
Jaeger means hunt. Yeah.
Which would explain the elk head or deer head logo.
Yeah. Stag,
I guess. Yes.
Man, what's the sci-fi? There's a sci-fi show that uses Jaegers as the name of the hunter seeker type thing.
yeah, what was that?
Pacific Rim.
Yes.
Pacific Rim.
Yeah, well, and the Jaeger was also a fairly popular battle mech from BattleTech way back in the day. But I digress. I'm like riding high today because my 2 new books finally got through submission hell and are now published to Drive Through RPG. So if you are a fan of the old school revival for D&D or really fantasy gaming in general, they are designed for old school essentials advanced fantasy role-playing game system, which is a BX system, basic and advanced, or basic and expert system. I wrote the first part of an entirely new campaign setting called the Brawnhaven campaign setting that comes with an adventure that is like a 67 room dungeon, and then 2 levels, 67 areas. And then I released a holiday-themed adventure, St. Baldwir's Magical Workshop, where the player characters have to rescue St. Baldwir, who is a dwarf who is an avatar of the known gods that every festival of giving comes down from the Skellis Mountains and delivers gifts to the faithful. And he rides in a magical sled that is pulled by 15 magical guinea pigs.
Nice.
And so he's been captured by the Bumpus, and so the player characters have to go and rescue him from the Bumpus.
Is there an OGL or something for that game system that you can publish, or do you have to do it under special licensing, or how does that work?
So there is an OGL, but it actually falls under Wizards of the Coast's OGL because
so it's 3.5 variant.
No, it's actually it is
1E.
It's basic expert with a splash of 1E in it, but all of that, because they own everything from TSR, it all falls under OGL. And so, yeah, it's all under OGL. And but I published it. They don't have like a community system like, for instance, like Wizards or D&D has the DMs Guild, and Mongoose Traveler has the TSA or TSA, yeah, or TAS, Travelers Aid Society, and but this is like a completely different thing. I'm publishing on my own.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see how that works. I know, like, seems like Mongoose 1 has an OGL, but Mongoose 2 uses the Traveler's Aid Society, and so, you know, it seems like if you wanted to, you could just publish on your own under the Mongoose 1 without having to worry about Mongoose getting their cut out of the TAS. But
there is, I mean, I could probably do.
So I think that's what Cepheus does. Cepheus is under the Mongoose 1.
Yeah, and I could do an entire podcast on just the pros and cons of that. There are benefits to doing that.
Sure.
Because it makes your life super easy. You can do anything, and as long as it fits within the parameters that, you know, it's going to be for Mongoose 2.0, and it fits within these lines, you can do anything you want.
It just seems like so many Traveler GMs are used to adapting things from various versions, because you got people still playing Traveler 5 and, you know, all the different editions that are out there.
Right, and Traveler makes it really easy to do that. But I mean, so does BX for D&D. You can take stuff from, you know, first edition advanced, and basically it's a drop-in fit for BX or pretty much any of the BX systems. But I know that it's a drop-in fit for old school essentials, which I'm kind of focusing on that because I just on a whim picked them up over the Thanksgiving holiday, and I read it, and like 242 pages in less than 2 hours, and I'm like, oh, this makes total sense. Like one of the things that I noticed, like back in the day, and I don't know how many of us played then, but you look at like THAC0, and back then there was like 3 or 4 paragraphs of just complete bullshit that didn't make any sense whatsoever. And when you were done, you were like, oh man, I got to learn algebra in order to play D&D. This is like maybe 3 sentences, and you read it, and you go, oh, that makes perfect sense.
I never thought Thaco was that hard. I've never understood why people get upset about it.
Yeah, there's a ton of people that get upset about it, but yeah, no, they made it really easy, and Gavin Norman is fantastic. He did an amazing job on that book, and I highly recommend it. If you're,
I didn't mind the Thaco.
If you're as fed up with fifth edition as I am, I highly recommend it.
Well, like with fifth edition, it'd be like saying, what do you need to hit AC 20?
Right.
And you're like, I need to roll 13 to hit AC 20. You're like, okay, well then that's basically what Thaco is knowing that that's what you need to roll to hit 0.
Exactly. But even this, so like if you have people that are like, no, I don't want to learn Thaco, you can go. They have the conversion roll. They're like, okay, we'll just flip it and do ascending AC, and they tell you how to do it, and it's like 2 sentences.
Because that's what Monty Cook's did with his whole system, where they're going, it's an easy system because you don't have to memorize all the stuff. You're like, yeah, you're just forcing the GM to do all that math. So the player knows that they need to roll 13, but they only know that they need to roll 13 because the GM in their head's going, well, they get a +3 from this and a +4 from that, so therefore they need to roll 13. And
Gavin Norman took it a step further, and the GM doesn't even have to do the work. It's basically all on a chart, and it's in the DM screen. So you just look at the DM screen, you're like, what did you roll with your bonuses? Oh, okay, you either hit or you don't, and it's all on the chart. And so it's a great... They did a fantastic job. I cannot rate it higher than the top games that I've looked at. It's amazing.
But, yeah, that was a big selling point for Numenera, is how easy it is. I'm going, well, it's not. You're making the GM do the math instead of the player.
Yeah, you're moving it from the players to the GM. Right.
It's like, that's great for the player, but the GM's got to do the math.
Yeah, no, Gavin Norman has solved that problem and just basically done everything with with a chart like you would see on the inside of a Peachy folder. I don't need to memorize multiplication tables. I've got one right here on the inside of my Peachy. It's right here. Which is basically how I graduated high school. So having said all that, go to DriveThruRPG, look for the Brawnhaven campaign setting and St. Baldware's Magical Workshop. And St. Baldware's is a pay what you want, so happy holidays. You can download it for free if you want. If you want to throw me some cash, I love you. But welcome to Deepnight Revelation. We're going to go full sci-fi. And we're going to be picking up where we left off last week. These guys had agreed to... Well, a whole bunch of shit happened last week. And pretty much that game was on cruise control. The players took control, and I like that. That's a good game. What basically transpired was these guys solved the conundrum and got away from Deep Night Endeavor. And if you haven't seen our website, the ultimate end result of that is that the Imperial Navy went out and nuked the Endeavor with all hands aboard. They didn't radio them. They didn't give them a warning. They didn't offer to take anybody off. They were like, you're all contagious. We don't want the space herpes to get anywhere. And we're nuking the whole vessel. And then they just said that it was basically crew error, that they opened fire, or there was a computer error that had misfired the guns, and the fuel depot returned fire, and both sides were destroyed in the aftermath, and all hands were lost. So the recommendation to the travelers was that you...
memorize that story and stick to it.
Right? Remember, they didn't even tell you the story, but they said basically, here's your reward for finding the Endeavor, and don't ever talk about this to anybody, not even Grandma. And they said, going along with that, it's probably good that you're not around this area, so we have a little job for you. And they gave you guys, essentially, it is a reclamation job. You guys are supposed to go out and get an intelligence asset, and you guys accept it. And this intelligence asset was last found on a Mondiage. It is a Type R fat trader, subsidized merchant, that was last seen on a Mondiage. And you guys accepted. And from Chandler Station, they basically put you into. They basically book you passage on Lowbirds, and you can take all your shit with you. That's cool. That's fine. I'm not. It says you only get 10 kilograms, but the naval intelligence is willing to anything extra over 10 kilograms. They're willing to put into a packing crate and pay the shipping cost to go with you. Now, as you guys are in your Lowbirds, you are having Christmas dreams of this talk that you had with naval intelligence before you left. And so you guys are already on your way to Amandiash. And the talk was basically background information. And so the background is, and I brought this map up. In fact, I just made it because I needed one. This is the island subsector. And I forget which one's which, but there's the new islands. I believe this is old islands, and this is new islands. And the deal with the island subsectors were that they were colonized way before there was jump drives. So Terra sent out sleeper ships, and they journeyed for hundreds of years. And when they came out, this was ultimately they had a lot of trials and tribulations, I'll tell you that, but this was ultimately their situation. And the colonists on these ships, they didn't all get along with one another, which is why they all kind of spread out and did their thing. And they all had each planet or each cluster of planets, each had their own governmental system. But there was never any real threat of any interstellar war, because they would beef up their own ground forces, of course, and they would have some kind of system defense boat system situation set up just in case. But let's say that Sturgeon's Law decided that it wanted to do an attack on LSE. Well, it's got to go through 2 parsecs. That's a couple hundred years at sublight speed. And so, well, not a couple hundred years, but it's a long time. And so the interstellar war was never really a threat. And then the Imperium fucked up. And they didn't just fuck up once, they fucked up twice. So the first one was there was a misjump. And this misjump happened at Serendip Belt. And evidently it was bad enough that all hands aboard this Imperial naval ship were lost. But the Serendip Belt there's no major planet aside from a gas giant. It's mostly scattered remnants of what would have been a planet. And it's a belting colony. And they discovered this ship and started to backwards engineer jump technology. Well, they didn't really get very far. But lucky for them, another ship misjumped. And it still had crew aboard. And while they were trying to repair things, somebody else from the island's clusters came and discovered them. And the captain of that ship decided that it would be a diplomatic overture. We've all seen this on Star Trek. We know what happens. Decided it would be a diplomatic overture to say, hey, you guys suck. Here, have the schematics for what we call the jump drive. Well, it didn't take but a few years, and the island's cluster planets started to develop and build the jump drive. And now, all of a sudden, the possibility of interstellar war and having a ship jump within a week or 2 weeks and land on your doorstep was a reality. And the whole region has become this hotbed of, just intelligence assets, and are they going to go to war? Are they going to move troops? It's a cluster. So this is of interest to the Imperium, which is why the fat trader, the subsidized merchant, Perfect Stranger, was in the area in the first place. They feel that the best way to keep an eye on things is by having somebody inside to look at everything. And so it appeared to be just a normal trader jumping around trading as normal, but it was heavily modified and it had intelligence gathering assets on it. And it basically took a picture of the area because the Imperium, they don't want this is one of the few places where you can jump across the Great Rift. And if this entire region erupts into war, then communications is disrupted, travel's disrupted, it screws the whole pooch. So, Perfect Stranger was jumping around collecting data. And then something went wrong. A few months ago, 2 members of the crew arrived back in Imperial space. Now, to tell you about the crew, it was crewed by Imperial Navy and Scout Service personnel with a couple of representatives from a major merchant line and an intelligence expert from Naval Intelligence. And then something went wrong, and a few months ago, 2 members of the crew arrived back in Imperial space. They were dead, apparently because of wounds inflicted by a laser weapon. The bodies were shipped in cryogenic units aboard a vessel transitioning from one side of the Great Rift to the other and were accompanied with no personal effects. Documentation sent with the bodies was simply names and crew members, and it states that they were shipped from Amondiage. And so this is how Naval Intelligence knows that Amondiage was the last location, or had to be the last location, of where Perfect Stranger was supposed to be. They don't know what happened to the crew other than that these 2 guys were killed by laser weapons. That's all they know. But they do know that apparently they got at least as far as Amondiage, and then, it hit the fan. So your mission is to go to Amondiage, and they want you to retrieve the ship. But specifically, the ship is really secondary. What they want you to do is they want you to retrieve the data cores out of the computer system in Perfect Stranger. That's what's important. The ship, if you make it back and the ship got totaled, they don't care. If you make it back with those data cores, they are telling you the Naval Intelligence Service is going to pay each one of you 250,000 credits. And on top of that, you will have access to a special favor. Like, and I say special, that's not how they put it, but it was stated that, if you are, if you're considered an intelligence asset, there are certain benefits that are going to come with that. And so that could play to your advantage. But monetarily, we're going to take care of you. Now, in addition to this, you're also given 10,000 credits each, or I'm sorry, 10,000 credits total for all of you that you can spend, on food or assets or whatever. And in addition to that, you have a 10,000 credit per month credit line that is available through the banks of Amondiage that intelligence has set up for you. Now, that credit line, if you go and you buy a whole bunch of shit that's not mission, attainable, like, oh, well, we suddenly need to go buy a whole bunch of, we need to buy like 3 sets of battle dress. Well, that's not really intelligence related, that's assault related, and they will rescind the credit line. So you need to keep it within your means. And it's only 10 grand per month. And, that's it. Once that credit line is reached, then at the end of the month, the intelligence service pays it off and you get another 10 grand. So this is on your mind as you are laying in low berths. And you're in low berths for a while. You leave Chandler's Station. The idea is that you're going to bring Ideally, you're going to bring Perfect Stranger and the data cores to Zuflucht, or Zuflucht. I think that's probably a German colony. So, it's a long way. Now, if you guys are really paying attention, and if you know, subsidized merchants don't have, they are only jump one capable. So how it got from here to here would normally be a mystery. But you are told that Perfect Stranger has been heavily modified. And so the cargo compartment of a fat trader is massive. If the cargo doors were a little bit wider, it would be able to swallow a far trader whole. What they did is they segmented that cargo bay, and it can be used as cargo bay, or it can be emptied, sealed off, and filled as hydrogen fuel tanks. And so Perfect Stranger actually has, I want to say 4 jump ones. I mean, you can't jump 4 parsecs at a time, but you can jump one, jump one, jump one, jump one.
It's still jump one, but it can jump the middle of nowhere.
Right. Exactly. And then make another jump. Exactly.
However, that can lead to you getting pretty off target because you've got no way to. You're jumping in the middle of absolutely nowhere with nothing to get your bearings from, and so each of those jumps can get you more and more off target.
Correct. That is correct. So they tell you that is how they've been getting around the island's cluster. Now, as far as traders go, a lot of the islands or a lot of the systems in the cluster have basically assumed, and nobody's really asked, but they've assumed that they're using jump bladders or something like that, to extend their jump range. And it's never come up as to how it is that they're getting around. It's not impossible, is what I'm saying, but it's far more capable than even what you would have assumed. And so this is all on your minds as you are in low berth, and you leave Chandler Station, and man, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6.
Have we been hanging out at Chandler Station the entire time since the mission ended, or did we go elsewhere?
You've been hanging out at Chandler Station. I
okay.
mean, you basically,
yeah.
You were basically you guys had like a week to move around Chandler Station, drinking, eating, and doing whatever you want.
Okay.
Now there is supplies, and I know that you guys are flush with a bit of cash. You are not getting any kind of advance on this next mission, but you guys have money from your reward. I don't know. I know that JT. Now JT has a concussion. What's really funny about that is, like 2 days ago, he had posted that his friend was teaching him how to snowboard for the first time, and I'm like, that sounds related.
That might be directly related.
Yeah. That sounds related. So JT, I hope you get better. Hope the tree's okay.
Or the ski lift.
Or the ski lift, yeah. So anyways, you guys have some time to spend on Chandler Station. If there's something that you want, and I mean, you could probably, on Chandler Station, probably anything, almost anything, up to tech level 12 is available. Probably not, things like combat armor and stuff like that. You're going to need permits. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's impossible, because Chandler Station is privately owned. So if there's something that you want that you think is questionable, might require military style permits or something like that, you're going to need to make a streetwise check.
There is something I'd like to buy. It is tech level 12, but I don't think it's likely to be sold on this station.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for basically a micro robot, a peeping Tom microbot, which is a 5mm wide, basically spy robot.
So basically, is it at TL12? Does it have its own AI, or is it more of a drone?
It is.
Because I've got the robot handbook. I can.
Yeah, it's page 220 of the robot handbook.
Okay, let me take a look at this.
And I don't really have remote operations, but I planned on just sort of planting it on myself and having it record things around me.
Oh,
well, you'll get electronic zero.
Are you talking about the Nano Hero?
No. Below that. It's
okay. Yeah. I see the one that kind of looks like a Roomba.
Yeah, it's like a very, very tiny Roomba. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just can't picture that being something sold on Chandler Station. So I'm not going to push it. I think if I was somewhere else, I might purchase it. Buying it, even if it was for sale on Chandler Station, I think it would definitely be noticed and logged if I did buy it. And so I would avoid doing so. If we were going to Tobiah, I might try to go find it, somewhere off grid. That's where
I think the part that makes it difficult is that it's described as a camouflage disc. 5 millimeters in diameter. If it didn't hold that sentence,
yeah, it's not something I would want to shop for on Chandler Station, even if it was for sale. I don't picture it as being something on Chandler Station likely for sale. It's a pretty high dollar value item, and it's for spying on people, and so I just can't picture that they would.
If you really want one, though, you do have an naval intelligence contact.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin that. I'm not burning it for this.
Okay.
It's something that, yeah. If we'd gone back, that was why I'd asked. If we'd gone back to Tobiah, I might have gone and tried to purchase it off, on Tobiah. But if we didn't, that's no problem.
Except for that one sentence, like I said, this could be. I could probably go out and I could go down the street to Vancouver Mall and buy something very similar to this right now.
Yeah, I was looking at glasses that did this.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, this isn't really beyond the nature of the beast. I would say that if you purchase something like this on Chandler Station, it would be of questionable quality, but that doesn't limit how you use it. Is really what's important.
I'd be worried more that it would be logged and flagged and everything else. So I'm okay not buying it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything that Gabriel would like to buy for Jack? And is there anything that Bocephus would like to purchase?
Man, we're in such a rural location. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you're out in the middle of fucking nowhere. Yeah. Literally.
I mean, I've pretty much got... I've got some guns, and I've got some armor. I've got a med kit. I can't think of anything else. I don't really have computer skills or anything to make me want to go down that route. And then I don't want to get into carrying a bunch of fucking medicine and stuff, while I'm low berthing. I want to kind of keep my package small.
Right.
Yeah, we're headed into the islands. Actually, have fairly high tech levels.
Yeah, part of that is because, part of it is the fact that they disseminated jump drive to them, and so their tech level went from like 9 to 12 almost overnight. Right. I mean, it's very similar to what happened this week. I don't know if you saw, but they have successfully come up with the holy grail of fusion tech. And I'm like, that, whether or not we see that implemented tomorrow, that's quite literally the game changer.
The running joke with Fusion is that it always has been and it always will be 20 years out.
It's right.
And so I joked with that after this announcement that we're now always going to be 19 years out.
Yeah, now we're going to be 19 years out instead of 20. Right.
Yeah. Is there any chance that I could do a shop for some side drugs?
Ooh.
That's going to be inky. You're going to have better odds of finding that stuff out in the islands, honestly.
You might be better off out now. See, because
it'll be easier, safer shopping for it too.
Yeah, I'm afraid if I roll bad, I might trigger shit I don't really want to deal with right now.
I mean, we're on an Imperium-run space station, and so that makes side drugs pretty.
But you also, you guys are also in a. It's not an Imperium. It is a privately owned station, but it does have an Imperial presence. And so that could get very sticky because you guys are kind of in a protected situation. But if you do something like that and then it raises too many questions, like if you run afoul of Vice, then there's how are they going to deal with that? And oh my God, there's paperwork.
Yeah, let's just avoid it.
Okay.
I'm going to buy another transceiver like Jack is.
Oh yeah.
Multiple transceivers would probably be a good idea.
Yeah, you might want to buy 2 this time since you have a tendency to give them away.
Well, I just was surprised nobody had one. Like that's like showing up somewhere now. Yeah. Right, but that's like showing up somewhere and find out nobody's got cell phones. You're like, really? You guys don't have cell phones?
Right, and in most of my Traveler games, honestly, you guys are the first one where transceivers really made sense because everywhere else is civilized enough that they have a cellular network that nobody's ever needed one. I'm in the world. My phone just connects to the cellular network and we have communications. But now, you guys are a special situation. You're a whole other bag of nuts. So all of this is kind of playing out in your head, and part of this, as you're, I almost imagine that Lobirth is almost like lucid dreaming, or like when you're not sleeping well. You're thinking about everything. You are asleep, but you're thinking about all the crap you've got to do, and part of that thought process, of course, comes into your minds. You guys are like, we're not spies. We are not, equipped to do this. But here we are. And you awake from Lobirth on a Mondiage. And, how's this?
Yay for not dying.
Right, yeah, I'm not even going to make you guys roll for it. You guys, it was a successful run.
Medic made his medic roll.
Yeah, he made his medic roll, and everybody went, darn, nobody won the lottery. So you show up on a Mondiage, and it is, I don't know, oh yeah, I did. So this is the Mondiage system, or the planet, rather. Sorry, I think I'm also getting a little sick from Mr. Gabe, but yeah, that was kind of expected. Don't worry. So this is a Mondiage. It obviously is fairly dry, but more like marshy. A lot of this green is rural marshland. So this water here seeps into the ground table for quite a ways, and it's not a terrible planet, but like I said, there's a lot of mud. There's a lot of mud farmers. Believe it or not, there's a lot of mud in a lot of spaceships. There's ceramics and everything. If you've seen Firefly, you know this. So you wake up and they're like, okay, you're here, and here's your stuff out of storage, and you're left on a starport dock with your stuff. What do you guys want to do? Now, one of the and before I forgot to tell you this, and this is probably the most important part. You guys were given credentials that basically state that you are representatives of a private mercantile firm that owns Perfect Stranger. You are legal representatives of this corporation to take ownership of this craft. So you have, and you were also given a universal code that will unlock everything on that ship. And when I say everything, everything. It is a universal code that is only available to you.
We need to seek passage.
I've got. No, this is where the ship is.
No, this is where the last location that the ship was.
We need to take ownership of the ship.
And
so I have rank 0 in admin. I have no ranks in advocate. If that comes up, I don't know if anybody is trained in advocate. It's probably Jeff's character, who's the police officer that might be most likely.
Right. Yeah. The police officer has a concussion. I'm trying to find the starport on this.
In case we get buried in paperwork over ownership and title.
Well, I can't find the starport. I'm going to say it's right. Oh, it's right here.
Yeah, that's a really awful location for it because it got cut.
Yeah, it got segregated. But yeah, it's down here, and here. So, but yeah, so that's starport. There's a major, and it is a major. Their star town is a major city, like a metropolis. Think like docking in New York.
And how long has it been here, supposedly?
Well,
I guess we have to figure out what day today is after traveling in low berth. But
yeah. You know that it has been here for at least the past 8 months.
All right, so the docking fees might be brutal. Okay, assuming it's just parked here.
See, this is what I like about Will. He knows about shit like this. You think ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm sitting there. Well, I'm running games, and so I know how much docking fees. And they're like 5,000 a week, and you're going. All right,
well, they can be. Yeah.
Yeah, and so if we've got 8 months of docking fees to pay, we might be in trouble. All right. Well, I suppose the first thing to do is just act like it's going to be very easy, and so walk into the ship station and try to find out where our ship's parked.
Okay.
Is there a Taz office here?
No.
Okay.
There is no Traveler's Aid Society on Amandia. And you can... I don't...
When we eventually get on the big ship, you need to make sure there's a Taz lobby, because otherwise that's a really shitty benefit for this campaign.
Yeah. You know, and I'm gonna retcon what I just said. So, I will allow Bocephus, if you're looking for a TAS hostel, go ahead and make a streetwise check.
I'm not necessarily wanting, lodging. It's more of the Planet Information Services.
Well, it's all in
one. In there.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
It's like a AAA / Union Hall.
Sure. And you said you want a streetwise?
Yeah, give me a streetwise plus. You can use intellect.
When we get in the big Deepnight Explorer thing, your Taz membership lets you get access to the skee ball room.
Right.
Yeah.
We got a holodeck?
Yeah, exactly. only for the Taz members.
Only for Taz members.
There's a 10.
Okay, so you do find a TAS hostel, but it's... So this TAS hostel is actually like a bookstore. a corner bookstore that is extremely crowded on the base floor with books. And there are a couple of information terminals in the back. And then upstairs, in between two bookcases, he has two rooms for Travelers Aid Society members that they can stay. And they have a couple of bunk beds.
Right. I'll go ahead and see if I can secure the rooms. I'm not going to, as a player, I'm saying I'm not trying to claim captain. But here in this office, I'm going to claim I'm going to try to act like they're my guests, and with me, they're part of my entourage.
Oh, of course. Yeah. If you have a couple of guests, that's acceptable.
Cheap and secure rooms, no problem.
Yeah, no questions asked. The rooms are yours, and the guy that runs the bookstore is like, we haven't got very many any TAS members in quite some time, but they do come through every once in a while, though.
Right. Well, I'm Dr. Bocephus, and if you need me or someone comes looking for me, I will be here, or I will be with my companions as we are acquiring our ship that has been lost here.
And this is, he says, okay, yeah. And this is like a little old guy. He looks like he's probably in his 70s, and he's like, "You're a doctor? Well, I have this mole right here. Do you think you could take a look at it?"
Oh, sure, I'll take a look at it.
And so he kind of ties you up. You're like it's nothing important. It's just an ingrown hair.
Yeah. I got an 11. Yeah.
Yeah. It's nothing important. You can laser scalpel that right off.
Cuts it right out.
Yeah. Here, hold on. I'll just take care of that right now. Yeah. Big lighter and a toothpick.
I'll tell him something. Well, you're still gonna die, but it won't be this that kills you.
Well, that's good. I'm so glad that you're not my doctor. So meanwhile, what's Jack doing? Are you going with Bocephus? Are you going with Sarda to the starport office? What's your plan? Okay, so Jack joins along with Sarda. Now, you guys are in the starport, and so the first thing to keep in mind is that the starport here, you guys are in the island subsector. Starports do not follow the normal rules that you probably are used to of being, a starport is basically, as long as you're in a starport, you're on Imperial land. It's basically like an embassy.
Right.
That's not the case in the islands. This is a Mondiage's starport. And my question then, of course, is what is a Mondiage's? What's Mondiage's deal? Let's see here. They are. Oh, well, the top of the screen will tell me if I go to the right screen.
It's got a pretty high law level.
Yeah, they're law level 9, so they do not allow you to walk around with any kind of weapons whatsoever.
Right, or armor, really.
Yeah, or armor. You guys are basically, you're allowed to walk around in your underwear and a wife beater, and you might be allowed some nail clippers, but you're probably going to be questioned if they're seen.
Yeah, no worries.
So you guys walk into the starport.
And I'm assuming that with that kind of law level, usually there is a way to like lock stuff up, because we don't have a ship to leave our stuff on. So if we have things that we can't, so that would be the thing, is to lock up anything and everything.
Yeah, there's normal lockers, just like you've seen in every starport. And when I say lockers, some of them, there's the normal. If any airport you've been into, there are locker areas. I'm not talking about those kind of lockers. There are those, but there are also storage units
Right.
If you a storage unit will run you 100 credits a day, and it is basically 20 or that's probably much. It's basically 10 cubic meters of space that you can drop your shit in and lock it up, and it's the pull door, the garage door type of pull door. You lock it. It's got a magnetic lock card that you're issued for per day, and you can lock your shit up.
Yeah, so I'll pay for 10 days for now, and let's just lock all of our crap up that we're not allowed to walk around with.
If you want, you can take that out of the 10,000 that you guys are allotted as walking around cash.
Sure. Do you want to? Can you maybe create a handout that we can keep track of our 10 grand? That way.
Let me
just make it editable by all of us, and then we can.
Probably do it on the Obsidian Portal really easy.
I probably could, but
yeah, but I mean, it's easy to do it in Roll20, right?
Oh, okay.
I'm just gonna do it in Notepad for now. And,
okay. I was just thinking if we had it in Roll20 and it was editable by all of us, we could all just go in and make ads.
I'm sorry. What did I say? 50 credits a day? And you're doing?
No, you said 100. You said 100 credits.
100 credits a day, and you're paying for how long?
I figured just 10 days right off the top, just to be safe.
So you're paying 1,000 credits minus 1,000.
That way you don't have to run back every day and top it off.
Okay.
And if we have reason to believe we're going to...
Can I make a computer check to locate the ship? No. Stunners and bladed weapons are illegal to carry. Like I said, you're walking around in your underwear.
Yep. Yeah, I had cloth armor, vac suit, rapier, and stunner, so I'm just locking all those up.
Yeah, all of that's illegal. You're basically in jeans and t-shirt and bare knuckling it.
This is where cybernetics comes in play.
Right. Very true. Whoops, that's
not... And melee combat.
Amen. So, well, as far as like a computer check goes, Jack, there are kiosks available. So, Jack, go ahead and make a computer plus your choice, either intellect or education check. I've never felt more naked. Okay, so Jack, you basically throw in the basic search parameters looking for perfect stranger, and even with a 7, you failed to find any information on the ship. But you do, well, no, that's not true. You failed to find any information on docking information. Basically, what you are told on the screen is that docking information and location services are prohibited because we don't want to dox anyone. That'll get you banned on Twitter. What you do get is you do get some information saying that Perfect Stranger did come through Amondiage at least 3 times in the last year. So you know that this was a frequent stop for that ship. So you guys lock up your stuff. Bocephus, you are finishing up at the TAS. You've secured rooms. What are you wanting to do?
I need to secure my gear in the strong house, the storage room, or whatever. I guess.
Yeah, you can.
Because I've got a Gauss rifle and a Gauss pistol that probably.
We would have had to have done that like immediately, like getting out of as they're unloading us from the ship.
You wouldn't be walking around with it. You'd probably want to lock it up in the starport, so it's probably in the storage.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that'd be one of the very first things we had to do before you go through customs, basically.
Right.
So, but see, as you're setting, you go in, you find your hostel room and whatnot. Make a. Well, you don't have to make anything. So you're setting up the room. You go in, you check it out, and you're like, okay, yeah, these 2 rooms. There's a couple of bunks. We're good. And each room has a broadcast TV. It's all Wi-Fi. And you in the room that you've decided that you're going to pick, and you pick your bunk and you turn on the TV. And the information that's coming across the TV, like almost every channel, the way to describe this would be like every channel is a different version of Fox News. And it is always politicians playing to themselves. And then you go to the next channel and they're playing to themselves. And then you go to the next channel. Make an intellect check. Bless you.
Or science, sociology.
Yeah, science, politics. But just make an intellect check.
Okay, 7.
So you are able to determine. So every single one of these channels, it's all propaganda, and it's all self-aggrandizing information. So these guys are basically saying stupid things like, oh, well, Amondiage is going to be under attack, and so we're running our patrols through such and such a system. But then when you look at it, you're like, well, you regularly run patrols through that system anyways. So you're not doing anything. You're already doing that. You're just politicizing the fact that you're doing it already. Another one is, oh, well, we gotta beef up our patrols on planet because you never know what's going to happen. What's going to happen? It's all propaganda.
I'm just turning that shit off.
And they keep coming up. They keep saying that someplace called New Bayern is going to invade, and we need to stop New Bayern from invading our system. And you know that New Bayern is one of the other planets in the island system. And so they're really at angst, anything going on from New Bayern. They don't even want, if they had a Disney World, people from New Bayern weren't allowed to go to go to Disney World because,
I think I want to kind of go primitive with it in a way. Maybe fire up my transceiver and just, act like the truckers do on the highway, and just, break out on the open, scan around and see if I can find people talking and talk to them and maybe ask around if any of them had seen or heard of a ship called the Perfect Stranger.
Make a electronics communications plus intellect or education check.
The 7.
Oh, that's the wrong dice. Wrong game, sorry. Try this again. I rolled a 72. Hey, guys. Okay. You don't get any responses back. Well, you do get some responses back. You get basically traders, coming back saying, that they've heard of Perfect Stranger. It's come into system. It's docked here, but they haven't seen him in a while.
Okay. Well, it's to be expected with my role. I'm not going to try to push past what my role would reveal. Yeah, I'm going to go rendezvous with Sarda and them. I'll contact them and ask where they are. Maybe we could meet at the local Astro Burger. I will treat out of my allotment of our monthly credits.
Excellent. Yeah, Astroburger is always a good choice. Um, so Serta, you get your crap stowed into the storage locker, and you and Jack is over, and he kind of fiddles around with one of the uh, information kiosks, and gets not much, a little bit of data, but not much. And so you guys walk into the local customs office, basically
Sure.
Starport Control Customs. What are you? And there's a clerk behind the counter, and he looks up and he says, "Oh, hello, welcome to Amondiage Customs Control. What can I do for you?"
Well, we've been sent by our corporation, and I'll mention the name of the company that we're ostensibly working for.
Right.
And we've been sent to
insert cover name here.
Yeah, we've been sent to take ownership of a ship that belongs to our corporation. Hoping it's docked here, make things really easy.
Says, okay. What's the name of the ship? Then he start typing away.
Yeah, and I'll give him the name of the ship, okay. Which I'm blanking on.
Perfect Stranger. And
Perfect Stranger. That's right. I just keep thinking of Balky. I need to think of Balky.
Yeah, think of Balky. And so he looks it up, and he looks up and he goes, that's strange. Who told you that that vessel was here?
The corporation said that this was the last known location for it. We were hoping it just meant it was docked at the starport. And so
he says, well, I'm not showing that Perfect Stranger is docked in our port. That's very strange. I mean, I'm not saying that your corporation's entirely wrong, but we're not showing her being docked here.
So, if I provide a proof of ownership, can I ask that you help us with whatever information they have regarding a flight log?
Do you have admin or broker?
I have admin.
Go ahead and make an.
I have broker as well, but
go ahead and make an admin check plus your intellect or education, and you can make that with a boon.
Boon. Gotta click the boon thing. Admin, education. Unfortunately, only a 7.
Okay. What about Jack? Does Jack have admin or broker? You might be able to interject and add to this conversation.
Nice.
Okay. So, between the two of you, you basically convince this guy, and or not convince him, but impress upon him that you are legal representatives. And he says, "Oh, well, we here on Amondiage, we have a high reputation of assisting law enforcement and dealing with the lawful owners of materials. So let me go ahead and look that up for you." And he starts typing away. And he tells you that, he says, what I'm showing is that Perfect Stranger was here on Amondiage, and they filed a flight plan. And he says, hold on here, let me double check this. And he says, hold on, I'm on the wrong page.
This is exactly what I was afraid of last week. It mentioned that they're going to drop us off on a planet. The ship's not going to be here.
So, I'm sorry. Before I tell you anything more, I left this out, and this is actually really funny. So, Gabe, Jack, when you were looking up information on the ship, you did find something. You found this. You found something called Everyone's Guide to Ships of the Islands, Perfect Stranger 1 star. Imperial registered garbage can with wings. Deserves 0 stars. I give it 1 star because you cannot give less than 1 star. That's how the any customers feel about Perfect Stranger right now.
At least those that flew middle passage.
Yeah.
Low berth's a lot easier. You don't have to listen to them.
Right. Because they're locked up and you don't have to worry about them seeing you spying on everybody. So he tells you that they did file a flight plan, and their flight plan was out of here. They filed a flight plan to Acadia. They were going to travel, let's see, let me pull that map up. You are on a montage. They were going to travel to Acadia. Or Acadie. And that was their last known flight plan. The last time that they were docked here at Amondiage.
All right. Well, I guess we'll be booking passage for Acadie. Thank you very much for your help. I've been to a lot of different systems. Different bureaucracies have different rules. I don't want to violate any of those rules. Is it accustomed to tip people who help us like you have?
He says, "Oh no. We help anybody who is of legal and lawful authority. You are more than welcome to the information, and I hope you find your ship."
Well, I will provide a great review for your assistance.
Oh,
thank you very much for your help.
So, where are you? So you step out, and just as Bocephus is kind of walking up, he's like, "I got us rooms." What do you guys want to do?
We need to try to find passage. It looks like to Acadie.
Okay, so there are, I mean, you're in a starport, so it's a great place to do. There are, ship passage lists listing, the different locations, and passage to Acadie. And I gotta look this up.
And we'll also see if there's ships that might need assistance, as employment. We could work the passage maybe.
Do working passage,
Yeah, depending on if that's needed, type thing. So we're looking for any and all options.
I can fill the role of a gunner or a medic.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of ships need medics. So.
Amen.
Or ship's counselor.
And I'm certainly a good sensors and engineer, so we've got a full complement of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're willing
crew members,
if you're willing to do crew passage, working passage, you are able to find a trader that is going to Acadie. I mean, they're not adverse to the idea of having security available. So, Jack is more than welcome. They also, roll either streetwise or recon plus intellect check. Anybody. Or all of you. You can all take a check.
I'll try. So this would be based on social or based on...
It'll be intellect.
Intellect,
Ooh, somebody rolled snake eyes. Bocephus accidentally pokes out his eyes.
I didn't do much better. Yeah, thank God Jack's here.
So Jack, you get the feeling that this trade crew is a little on the seedy side, because they're bringing up how so you're looking around their ship, and so they have just a basic free trader. It's it's a free trader. So they basically, from what you can tell, they can make their jumps from Acadie all the way to St. Denis, and they just run this cluster. And Jack, you know that there are tons of little hidey holes all over these ships, and just the look of the guy, the way you're sizing him up, the way you're looking around the crew, you're like, they're smugglers. And so but the captain of the ship is like, oh, well, you guys got a doctor? Shit, yeah, we could use a doctor. And you got somebody who can run security? Yeah, and yeah, if you guys want to do working passage, we're heading for Katie.
Sure. Yeah, I'm good with sensors.
Oh, yep. Well, excellent.
So we'll kind of privately discuss: do we want to do this, or do we just want to pay passage and not deal with being on a smuggler ship?
So Jack kind of whispers to you guys: do we want to be low rent pirates?
Well, I mean, you know, if they do turn out to be pirates, perhaps we could get a reward for turning them in when we get to Katie.
I think they're smugglers more than pirates, but yeah.
If they don't stick it in my face and they don't get hostile or whatever, I mean, I don't particularly care. It doesn't affect me. This is the local customs and culture, and we should try to blend in with that and not disrupt.
Okay.
Especially when we might be needing friends to help us with getting the ship.
Yep. We're just trying to get to a Katie.
Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
All right. I mean, that's my opinion is, you know, smuggling, so what? I mean,
the big issue is that if they get caught, if they get busted in a Katie smuggling, we could all get arrested. That would be the real.
Right. Yeah. We might have some plausible deniability, not knowing that they're that. I mean, we are obviously not from around here, new faces, and I mean, I think it, unless they're doing something extremely on the shady, bad, evil side, that you know, us just telling the truth and not having to roll deception rolls would do most of the
sure.
You know, just the honest. Yeah, we got dropped off on Amandius, and we're going to get our ship. Here's proof of ownership. We're working passage. This was the ship that we've seen no reason to think that they're smugglers. They didn't, you know, they don't advertise that. I mean, what kind of authorities expect you to be a mind reader? Even though I kind of am.
Right.
I mean, that's
that's something you can do during the course of the trip. Try to figure out what are they smuggling, what's our risk, what level of risk do we actually run here.
Yeah, I mean, if it has to, I mean, we could give them some of the knockout juice, take their ship over, and turn them in.
There is that.
I mean, so.
Yeah, I say we take it and hope for the best.
I agree. I'm up for anything. They get too squirrely, we take their ship. Yeah. So Jack agrees. Let's just take their ship.
If I can never get my clairaudience to work, we could hypothetically be checking out the hidey holes.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I haven't succeeded on a single roll with it. It's been pretty funny.
Right. I mean, you can probably take your time with that too.
That's true. I mean, I have a 10 in psi. It's my highest stat.
Yeah. That's a lot of. I mean, that's a +1 right there.
Yeah, and I have 1 rank in clairvoyance. It's just that I keep rolling for crap.
Yeah, I think you do, especially if you say I want to take my time.
Sure.
So, as you guys are standing there talking to the captain, you're stepping into the cargo bay of this ship because they're loading cargo. There's a number of cargo crates and Jack kind of points out these cargo crates.
I'm just like la. Don't want to know about cargo. Let's show us where we're bunking.
Well, I mean, the cargo's like in open sight, and the cargo bay doors are open. They're no. It's not like they're hiding anything yet, but there's a ton of cargo crates in there. And part of Jack's 9, Jack recognizes that some of these crates look like ballistic crates.
right. So we're weapons running. Perfect.
Yeah, so I think I'd like to go. Do they got like deckhands or something out here screwing with the cargo?
Oh yeah, they've got. I mean, it's a free trader, so I mean, there's at least two people that are sitting there, kind of shuffling crates around, and securing cargo into the cargo hold, and the captain says we're not expecting any problems, but he tells Sarda if you want to take the sensor station up on the bridge, that would be great.
Sure.
He says he tells Bocephus that we don't. I mean, we're a small ship, so we don't have, we don't have a med bay or anything like that. But we do commonly use the common area for triage if need be. Basically,
cafeteria.
Yeah, just throw everything off the nearest table and use that. He says, I know how that sounds, but he's like, you're a traveler. You understand how it must be.
Oh, sure. I where I come from, we treated people on the plain dirt. It is fine. So, Captain, as I start to try to read his service thoughts, what are we hauling?
Go ahead and make your surface thoughts plus psi check.
Okay. Let's...
Telepathy plus psi?
Yes, sir. So that's going to be, 3 plus 3? Not bad. Let's see what happens.
And while Bocephus is asking this, he looks at Jack and he says, well, yeah, I mean, security is always a good thing. He points over to this guy who looks, he's wearing a military green tank top, and he says, if you could help him right now. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of use for security right now, but you never know what's going to happen, right? And so he says, if you could help him stow equipment or stow the cargo, that would be great. So to Bocephus, your answer, he says, I'm not really at a liberty to say. My general rule of thumb, this is what he's saying out loud. My general rule of thumb is that, for cargo that we take on to ship, I have a general policy of don't ask, don't tell. I don't want to open the crates to find out what's inside, and I'm not going to ask you, the person who purchased it, I'm not going to ask them what it is that they ordered.
I understand.
It's just general cargo to me. You're reading his surface thoughts. And
yeah, I did. I succeeded in my role. But I did, just dead on the money. But
right. So dead on the money, his surface thoughts, dead on the money, with an exact success is still considered marginal.
He's cussing. These damn new guys want to know all this shit.
He doesn't like the idea of taking on passengers, but he needs the extra crew to help unload all of this gear, and he's worried about customs patrols getting to Katie, and so the extra crew may be of assistance to him.
Okay, that sounds fine. I'm not going to question him on his thoughts. That would be really stupid.
Right, give it away. Hey, by the way, I can read your mind.
Yeah, but I'll tuck that away. I'm fairly confident that, as long as we play by the book and do our things, that we'll probably be okay. It doesn't sound like we're, being a bioterrorist or anything.
It doesn't. The general vibe that you get is that there is something else going on. He has a sense, and I mean, it's hard to convey this without, going from telepathy into telempathy, which are two different things. Right. But there is this general sense that there is a deeper sense of cause to this, whatever it is that he's transporting. So he is being elusive, but
Right.
it's not on his surface thoughts.
That'll be fine. That's all.
Yeah. We're supposed to report to Zuflucht, right? That's the final.
Correct. Yeah, it's all the way up here, and
is there a contact or people or a group that we should be responding to?
Oh yeah, it is the Imperial naval base there at Zuflucht.
All right. Well, I want to send mail before we leave, indicating that we arrived, determined that the ship was headed to our Acadie, and that we are booking passage on this ship. And I'll give the ship name to Acadie. Basically, send it mail. I know that'll be weeks before they get it, but
there are a couple of problems with that.
Okay.
So, and I mean, you can still send the message.
Right.
The first problem is there is no X-boat system here. So
they don't have mail. There are no mail canisters.
It's all private. It's all private contractors.
Right.
The second problem is you would, unless you're going to try to make a communications check to encode it, there would be nothing to stop anybody along the way from reading your message and knowing.
Gotcha. So they don't have, like, within the Imperium the encoded those mail delivery boxes that.
No.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, given that, I guess we won't be doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the one big downside, is that you guys are pretty much on your own, and it's now kind of that whole thing dawns on you that the reality is you guys are deniable assets.
Sure. I was just thinking if we disappeared, never show up, they're not going to know where the hell we went or why we did. That was the main thing I was thinking of.
And the other thing, like I said, that part of the paranoia while you were in Low Birth was that we're not spies. We're not geared to do this. Some of the best spies in history were nobodies. They were average Joe on the street, and they were either, most times they were coerced, or they were bribed into doing it. But the reality is they were nobodies. Oh, you're a gas pump attendant, and you happen to pump the gas of so-and-so's car, every 2 days, and you overhear conversations. Well, that would be terrible, if something happened to your sister, and so, maybe you should, report what you tell me. Those are the best spies, and you guys are kind of now realizing after the fact, you're like, wait a minute, we're kind of in that situation.
Well, we have no handlers, and we have no way to drop information.
That's the other problem, is that you have no way. There's nobody to come help you.
Well, we don't necessarily. Yeah, we're not necessarily looking for help at this point. It was just a matter of relaying what our plans were.
Right.
Okay. Can we get maybe the other 900 credits back for our the storage that we don't need now? I guess since we're.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, that's not a problem. Let me
get a refund on our 9 days that we're not going to need.
Right. So yeah, you are at 9,000 credits.
No worries.
So, and I mean, that's without even, aside from your personal purchases, that hasn't touched any of your personal income.
Yeah. No, I'd spend 1,000 on.
And not to forget, you still have 10,000 in credit.
Sure. All right. So yeah. So otherwise, just settle in on the new ship.
Okay. So you guys settle in, and these guys take off. Now they do tell you, as you take off, they and they make a special point to to bring this up to Jack. Oh wait, I'm up for anything. Not too squirrely. I'm with you. Okay. They make a special point, and they're talking to you in the common area, and the captain is like looking at Jack, but he's talking to all of you, and he says that the cargo hold is off limits until they reach Acadie. And he says it's nothing personal. It's just you know. I
have no reason to be in there.
It's a security reason. We don't, like he said. He said I don't. I have a don't ask, don't tell, and I don't want any passengers, whether you're working passage or not, to maybe poke around in the wrong place, see something that you shouldn't have seen, and then it causes all of us to have problems. And I don't like problems on my ship.
No worries.
And I don't know how Jack feels about that. I don't know how Bocephus feels about that. He I kind of get the feeling about the island subsectors. He's like, yeah, I don't want problems to appear. Doma?
Yeah, I'm just here to give prostate exams and patch holes in bodies. I'm really kind of a laid-back, free-flowing guy. If you want to show a little undersack with your Daisy Duke shorts as you're walking around, I'm not going to knock you for it. Go ahead. That's fine.
This is all right. I'm very tempted about the crates, but we'll comply. So, yeah, Sarda, you're on the bridge.
Yep.
You're sitting in the sensors position. Go ahead and make a electronic sensors plus intellect check, or intellect or education check, your choice.
We still on the same day?
Yeah, you are. Yeah, and you are heading out to the 100 diameter limit. I almost said 90 diameter limit. I'm used to my pirates.
Yeah.
17.
Ooh. So
good job.
That's a boxcar.
So on your way out to the 100 diameter limit, you detect that there are two, and I have to look at them. Yep, that's right, Beck. I need. Where is he? There it is. 175. So you pick up that there are two 200-ton system defense boats heading in your direction, and they have thrust 9. And
holy shit!
Yeah, they are. They see this ship take off, and you're probably halfway.
I'll point it out immediately.
Okay. The captain. He goes over and sits down in the pilot seat because he had it set basically on autopilot and was thinking that this was going to be an easy run. And he jumps over into the pilot seat and he doesn't do much because, it's not like this ship has a, more than one thrust. And he calls Jack up to the bridge. And so, Jack, you get up to the bridge, and he says, all right, look. I don't want you to ask questions, but I need you and two of my my crew members, the engineer and my steward. I need the three of you to go down into the cargo hold.
I'm going to record this conversation on my data. Okay.
So if you're going to do that, go ahead and make a stealth plus dex.
So I've got a data display that I wear, which has a recorder built into it. So.
Okay. So he tells you, I need you and my steward and my engineer to go down into the cargo hold. And he says, please don't open anything and don't ask questions. I need you to move some cargo around. The engineer knows where to move it. I think we're going to be boarded.
Yeah.
But I need you guys to move this cargo around because I don't think they're done. And I need you to get down there and do that. All right, so Jack says, yes, sir, and he goes down to the cargo hold. So, Jack, you get down to the cargo hold, and you see that there is a side panel where you would expect, coolant systems and, general wiring. There's a whole hollow back in there. And these guys are loading stuff, and the engineer looks up as Jack comes in, and, the steward, who is like a 17-year-old kid, is halfway into this hole, and he's pushing this heavy crate in, and the engineer says, hey, new guy, get down here and help me with these ballistic crates. We need to get these into the concealed compartment right away.
These guys are the best smugglers ever.
Yeah, I mean, why didn't they just load the shit directly into the hidey hole?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, before we even took off.
That makes you look suspicious. Especially if you're taking on 3 new passengers.
I hear you.
I'll just tell
this
Captain
doesn't think things out.
Should we hail these guys that are incoming? It might buy time.
The captain looks at you and he says, well,
I'm pretty proficient on
comms. He says, sure, go ahead. What do you have in mind? He says, before you press the comm button, what do you have in mind?
I think just sort of acknowledging that they are incoming, and can we do anything to assist them? That's all I was suggesting. Is it is very obvious that we don't want them to shoot us. I think that's the real, right? We want to try to de-escalate.
Sure, go ahead.
So so I'm not trained in comms, but okay.
I can open your channel for you. I mean, I'm not trying to step on your...
I have a 0 in the skill, so it's just I'm right because it's electronics. So trying to create a medical emergency.
No,
it's 2 against 1, Jack. While you're down there. But...
So Jack is like loading in stuff. Oh, my back! No, Jack's loading stuff in. But Jack can so while you're loading stuff in, Jack, you get a closer look at these ballistic crates, and there is a brass plaque that is attached to these ballistic crates that lists them as Imperial advanced assault rifles. These are from the Imperium, and they are advanced ACRs. These are advanced combat rifles. And it says there is a note below. It says note to make sure to load the ballistic, when you're loading the ballistic crate, to make sure that the optional grenade launcher is not loaded.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a really strong suggestion.
Yeah, it's suggested. From MSRP, don't load the grenade launcher before selling.
That it has ammo for everything too. So.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
You note that there are 5 of these ballistic crates, and these crates you would estimate there is enough. These crates are big enough that each one holds 5 ACRs with their additional one-shot under barrel grenade launchers.
Those are nice.
So, Serta, you...
I only got a 5, but I mean, I'm just basically trying to signal them. And so, I mean...
Yeah, no, you signal. There's no jamming going on or anything. You signal them. And we see you're moving in our direction. Is there something we can help you with?
System defense boats. I see you're converging on our location. Can we assist?
Yes.
Maybe add a note about, please give us a suggested heading or something if you plan on boarding us, By all means, come take a look if you want.
So, Bocephus, are you heading to the bridge at this point? I mean, it's obvious now that there's something going on.
Oh,
you're basically sitting in the commons area, and the crew of the ship are like, oh, shit. And they're all moving around.
Right. Well, I think the place for me to be is, I see all the commotion and everybody kind of heading down to the cargo hold. I'm going to think there's a problem in the cargo hold.
Okay.
And so, maybe I can kind of walk down on in there and, hey guys, how's it going?
Okay. So you head down to the cargo hold, and the system defense boats come back to start. Come up with a name for this ship.
The spiders fly.
The what?
The spiders fly.
There you go. Yes, spiders fly. We see that you are registered out of Amandiage. We have reports of smuggling going on. We are doing customs checks for every ship that is leaving Amandiage space. Please cut drives so that we can, and heave to so that we can board and do an inspections check.
All right. Well, the captain would have heard that, so I'll let him. I'll just sort of say copy.
The captain, you look over your shoulder at the captain, and he kind of looks like he's turned a little white. And he looks at you, and he says, honestly, this is the first time I've done this one. He says, do you have a suggestion, sir?
They are faster than your ship, so unless you could land back on that planet before them, in which case you're going to still be inspected, your only other option would be to jump early, and that's really dangerous.
He kind of looks at you like he's thinking that might be an option, and he looks over at his astrogator, and his astrogator's like, I don't know about that.
I'm a hot engineer in terms of jumping, but it'd be brutal.
Are you going to tell him that you're a hot engineer?
Yeah. I'll let him know that, but the astrogator's got to have it planned.
He says, no shit. Well, he says, okay.
However, you have to think about this in terms of your own career. You gotten away, but your ship is stuck with this cluster based on your jump 1. And so, if we flee now within this many perimeter, the perimeter, you're burnt. You're never going to be able to fly this ship within this area again.
And he kind of laughs at that, and he says, two things. He says, one, money will buy you a whole new ship registry, and two, he says, money will also buy you jump bladders, so I could jump to another cluster. And he says, but I don't want to give away too many of my trade secrets. And
I'm just letting you know. It just seemed to me that you might be burnt in this cluster if we jump early. I'm trying to find them.
The astrogator starts putting in an astrogation check. So Bocephus, you. So I'm sorry. Let me So Bocephus comes down to the engineering section, and you walk out on. There's a gangplank that walks over the cargo hold, and you look down and you see that Jack and the engineer are loading stuff, and the steward, this 17-year-old steward, is grabbing him and throwing him into this side compartment that is clearly a smuggling compartment. I mean, now that the panel is off, you're like, oh, I see what's going on.
I will comment on, wow, that is just an ingenious hiding compartment there. That is great.
The engineer looks over his shoulder and is like, well, if you're going to watch us, then get down here and help.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, you don't want those guys boarding our ship and seeing this. That's going to be... Those guys are... Wow. That not what you want.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Now this... You know that we want a cut of these things if we get by this when you sell it, right?
He's like, whoa, wait, you're going to have to take that up with the captain. I am not the person to talk about that.
This might be the best time to negotiate our terms with the captain. We could all get a bigger cut. We talk to him now.
So, I am not... all I know is I get my ship share.
I'm just joking. I'm joking.
You turned into Ting overnight.
Yeah. I'm just joking. Let's load this stuff up and see if we can get this by with a pretty outcome.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the rules for jumping within a distance.
I'm gonna help them load this stuff.
It's like a -4 to your jump check.
I don't. Where is it even listed?
It is.
Oh, still within. Yeah, you're right. It is -4. There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
So, the astrogator has dropped you on with a +1.
Okay.
And you guys are down in the cargo hold, and you feel the ship. The energy of the ship is kind of changing. You're not gaining in speed, but Bocephus and Jack, you can feel. You're like, I think they're getting ready to jump, and we are not anywhere near the jump point. You're getting that uber queasy feeling.
Yeah, we should all brace ourselves. I mean, if it starts jumping and rattling around and throwing things around, maybe we should all just get away from untethered items and sit down or buckle in if there's safety seats around. This is unsafe.
The captain on the bridge looks at Sarda and he says, "Do you think he can do this?"
Yeah.
Says.
So we need to go. We're only going jump 1, right? We're only going 1.
Yeah, you're only going to Acadie.
All right.
He says.
So, try to find
jump
the DC.
Control. He tells the astrogator. He says, "Transfer jump control to sensors. The ship is yours, Mr. Serta."
All right, let's do it. As a 7, that is successful for a 1 system jump.
It is. Yes, it is. That is a routine check, and you jump early. And so Bocephus and Jack, you guys are in the cargo hold, and the entire world just kind of closes in, and you're like, oh, God. And you see the 17-year-old steward just pukes all over the inside of the concealed cargo bay, and the engineer is like, "Oh my God, he's not!" And you guys jump, and you're in drive space, and the kid comes out, and he's just covered, and he's like, "I'm so sorry. That was my first time. Was that a normal jump?" And the engineer says, "That was most certainly not a normal jump. Who the hell authorized that?"
Well, I guess we'll find out where we end up in a week.
Yeah. Well, Yeah.
That's the great thing about misjumping is that you don't know you misjumped.
Well, you didn't misjump. You actually.
No, I understand that. I know that we don't really know
yeah, but
that.
They don't know that, right? Yeah.
Nobody really knows it until you show up. You're like, oh, good, we are where we were hoping to go.
But I mean,
we just took a great risk.
Bocephus and Jack, I mean Jack especially, having been in the Marines, you have done enough, early jumps to know, hold on to your lunch because this is a bad situation that's about to happen. Jack would know what this was. He doesn't know that you have no idea where you're going to come out, but Jack knows what this was. And so, the kid's like, oh my God, are we okay?
No, because you have to clean all that up.
And you get paid $5.70 an hour, you douche.
Yeah, that's not okay at all. Yeah.
It's not okay at all. So yeah. Yeah, you guys. So Jack, are you telling Bocephus that are you letting him know about these ballistic crates? Are you telling him what you saw? Okay, so Bocephus, Jack tells you that these ballistic crates, there was at least 3 of them. So there's 15 ACRs with a barrel mounted, or bottom mounted single shot grenade launchers.
Wow. So we're like talking in private right now? Is that?
Yeah, you guys are in the cargo hold, and he kind of comes over, and the engineer comes over and secures the thing. And when he secures the wall,
he's just saying it out loud.
It looks almost seamless. But no, Jack comes over and he's kind of whispering. He's like, these guys are running guns, and there's 15 ACRs, and there's 15 single shot grenade launchers, and these guys are gun runners.
The most neutral thing to do in this situation would be to take the guns for ourselves to make sure they didn't go into bad
You're
hands.
flipping into Tang again.
Yeah, but it's really none of our business.
Where would we be storing these guns if we were to take them?
Right.
Yeah.
We don't have a ship.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Hold on. I'll just stick this ACR down my pants.
Right. Yeah. But well, it's really none of our concern. We just need to get off.
During the week that you are in jump space, the captain kind of, and they have a nightly dinner, and the first dinner that they have after making the jump, he breaks out a bottle of whiskey and sets it on the table, and he says, "Well, I want to thank our newcomers, Mr. Sarda Wellander." Says that was a rather amazing jump sequence. You got us out of there. Don't know where we're going to end up, but we're things aren't all blurry, and that's a good sign. He says, and I want to thank Jack, and I want to thank Bocephus for going down and helping secure cargo. He says, you guys deserve to know what's going on. And he looks around the room, and the rest of the crew are like, don't tell these guys. And the captain's like, no. I mean, they deserve to know. We are supplying guns to a rebel faction on Acadie, and so Jack says, I just tell them out loud that jackasses are hauling Imperial ACRs with grenade launchers. You're supplying rebels. We know. You're not real smooth. Right. Well, and he kind of laughs. He's like, yeah, we're supplying, but they're not jackasses. But they are rebels. There is a faction on Acadie that is rebelling against the yoke of. So Acadie is actually a colony planet of Amondiage, and so they are under the same oppressive law order, and there is a rebellion going on there. And so there are several protests and factions that are dealing it out on the streets. And he says, we were hired to deliver guns to them. And he says, honestly, this is the first time that I've ever actually done this. He says, I'm going to be real honest. Usually I just deliver drugs, but, whatever.
Fair enough.
He says, well, money's money, and this was a lot. He says, but you guys helped out a lot. I'm willing to cut you guys in.
Well, that'd be great. Like I say, the one thing I do worry about is your ship is probably burned in this cluster, and so
he says, like I said, I already have ways around that, but getting caught with the guns was not good. But like I said, I have ways around getting past that situation. I've got palms to grease and whatnot, which means that the cut will be a little bit smaller. So I can only offer you guys each 2,000 credits. Is it?
That's fine. What's the situation in Acadie? Are you going to be able to just land on planet and drop off what you need to drop off with the rebels? Or,
he says, I have...
Or are we going to have to smuggle them through customs there, too?
He says, I've got an alternate IFF. I can generate a different trader code, and I'll just change my name, and we can land at Acadie, and that's not a problem. And I will pay you guys your 2,000 credits each.
Yeah. I don't want your money. I don't want
any of your shit show.
Yeah, look.
I think rather than the 2,000 credits, how about we just all agree that we flew middle passage and weren't involved in this at all. I think that right there would make us happier. We're working for a corporation that would be very displeased if it were to get back to them that we were assisting anyone with smuggling.
How about you just let us have your air raft when we get into the thing?
He says, obviously, all of this cash is under the table. I mean, there's no log of anything.
Right. I understand there's no log, but there's people talk, And so I think as long as I think we will be magnanimous and allow the crew to have that much more money. As long as the crew realizes that we were simply passengers on this ship and had nothing to do with.
If we take payment for these guns and an Imperial Marine died in the acquisition of these guns, then we would be somewhat morally liable for that.
Well, it wouldn't be an Imperial Marine. It would be an Amondiage Marine.
Oh, well, we don't...
Army.
If they're
there's
Imperial
no Imperium here.
You watch the news, you realize that they've got governments obviously controls the media, and they have a rather...
yeah, I understand that. But
Jack says we were jump hallucinating. We didn't see shit.
Yeah.
we know nothing.
One point in time, these weapons were in the hands of Imperial military. And with that in mind, we prefer to, we'll help you store it in your boxes over the week or whatever, and we'll do so gloved, and I will make sure that we leave no DNA behind.
The captain tells you that he says you guys did such a solid. We can do one better than that. How about I just put in I'll just alter my logs and put in that you guys were in low passage for
perfect.
This jump.
They have berths. If they're a low passage berth, that'd be even better. Yeah, just log us as low passenger this entire trip.
Do they have an air raft?
They do not.
Oh, well, then, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
that'll be fine.
Yeah, no. If they log us as low passengers, that's perfect. And so, and as long as the crew realizes we're not going to take any of your money, you guys have that's extra split amongst you. If anyone asks, is your engineer that made that jump?
The steward still hasn't changed his T-shirt, and he's like, well, fucking A. If they're going to give us their share, then I'll take some of that.
As long as your engineer made that jump, if anyone asks.
And the astrogator's like, well, I did make the astrogation check.
You certainly did, and without it, we could be really hosed.
And so the captain's like, you know what? I'll just alter the logs and put you guys as being in low passage, and you have my thanks. You really saved our asses.
We haven't shown up yet, so let's not break our arms, not patting ourselves on the back about the astrogation.
So you guys, a week goes by, and you come out at at a Katie. Yeah, I do. And this is.
And I will delete the recording to make things safer.
Probably for the best.
I will delete that recording because it could be dangerous to have.
So this is a Katie, which is a shithole. It is just a barren world, and this is the planet that they're going to drop you off on. And we will pick this up next week. I'm sorry, 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Because we're taking next week off for Christmas. Well, I'm taking next week off for Christmas. I mean, you guys can do what you want, but you won't be here. So we will take a week off.
Is the starport in water, or is that? Oh, it's an ice field. Oh, this is ice.
This is an ice field. Yeah, Acadie is a wonderful, wonderful place.
Well, I heard it was an agricultural planet. I wasn't, but that seems a lot of ice for agricultural.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Now, according to Traveler Map, this is Acadie, it is. It's fugly, is what it is. Yeah. I mean, there's some agriculture that goes on, but not a lot. I would guess that the agriculture would be like frozen or cold terrain grasses and things like that.
It's as an agricultural world, this world is near ideal environment for producing quality foodstuffs of plant, animal, and other forms. So clearly that is off.
Probably underground, which we will get to next week, and how we or 2 weeks from now. Yep. And how we dock and come in. I want to tell you guys Merry Christmas and thank you for being players. Love you guys. You're my newest set of players and you are absolutely fantastic. And I'm really excited about where this campaign is going. So, cool. Merry Christmas, and I hope you have a good holiday.
Get better, Gabe.
Yeah, Gabe, get better. Damn it.
It was fun. Have a good night.
Merry Christmas, all.
Merry Christmas. Have a good night, guys.